lunch, which will quite nicely fit with what we just discussed. It's about digital trust. And I would like to invite the Group Head Digital Initiative from Telen, Mr. Ahmad Deniar, to lead the panel.
Check. Can my voice be heard? Okay. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Introduce myself, Denia. I'm heading for the product management and product development in Tallinn. So I will moderating the session today. So as we know together that our life now is digitally connected, right? From when we wake up until we got sleep, even during our sleep, it's still connected, right? And it's really critical for us to, especially for us, for the industry, to build trust in digital. And one of the biggest concerns is to build the trust is security, to make it secure. Especially for, now we're concerned about the personal data and fraud, to make sure that the identity really valid. Is it a legitimate people or not? Right. So we also have having some panelists here that really experience on their various sector to share their experience how to build digital trust. So I invite all the panelists to the stage. Give applause for the panelists. So yeah, here we have a couple of the expertise. Start from the for the left side is the case stand from the INEA and Pak Michael from the Bank Saku, and also we have Gengshu from the Net Number, Sunil from the Akamai, and also the Lokwi from the Boku. Okay. Maybe I start with the question first, and then after that, you may also add some brief introduction about you, what you're doing, right? Okay. Maybe I start first from the one who facing the consumer, right? So I start with Pa Michael. Pa Michael, we heard that you have a success story launching the Bank Saku starting in November, and now you got a 1.1 million user. And my curious is during very short period, how do you build digital trust in very quick?
Okay, thank you, Pak Deniar. So a little bit background on the Bank Saku itself. So Bank Saku is a digital bank. We launched back in November 2023. It's a collaboration between the Astra Financial as well as the WLAM. We are targeting basically the segment of the solopreneur, consists of self-employed and as well as the freelancer. And basically we also having key products, yeah, like Tabumatic as well as the Basposito, which is encouraging the social of the savings account. So when you do the savings with us, the more people coming into our savings account, the bigger is the interest rate. So basically, as a bank, yeah, we are in the trust business. So protecting the consumer itself is very important for us. And speaking of the digital trust, I think it's very multifaceted layer, and where basically the security is need to be implemented in multi-layer as well. Yeah. So in the bank itself, we are protecting from various, and I agree with the previous panel that PPT, process, people, and technology is very important in every layer. And the first thing, of course, like in the network layer, for example, we implement like the sanitizing the traffic coming in, and so we already know the correct traffic. And the second is, of course, we are mitigating the issue like on the network microsegmentation. So when any case happening, that we can basically isolate some of the network, as well that implement some MFA, multi-factor authentication. But again, of course, security is a balance, yeah, between convenience and, of course, the security itself. So getting awareness not only for the employee of the people from malicious things attack going in, also protecting our customer. So we are actively basically socializing how we are can avoid the like a phishing attempt or speed phishing attempt or what kind of the attack that currently happening. So both on the employee side and as well the customer side can be protected on the both sides. I think that's the brief way of it.
All right, thank you. So next I move to the Gangshu, because you are in the net number. Based on experience, is in order to build digital trust, do you see the same similarity what mentioned by Pa Michael in terms of your experience? Is especially related about the mention about 2FA or robust identify validation.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, I would say, yeah, really appreciate the founder of the company. So actually, when the founder founded the company almost 30 years ago, named the company as net number. So which means you realized your phone number will be a very essential part of your digital life, right? Even, 30 years ago, it's totally different, right? So as a company, from the foundation of the company, we're starting to build up the phone number database, which could be used by the digital industry to verify, validate the phone number linked to your any digital transactions. So which could be used by banks or even any other applications, right? So as a company, I believe there are also some others mentioned about the data needs to be provided in real time, right? To protect your mobile, your digital transactions. So we are providing our service at the API, which could be integrated with enterprise customers like banks and also CPaaS service providers, even large carriers to use the data. Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next, I move to because there's value chain facing the customer and then identity, phone number validation. Now I move to the mobile payment. It goes to you, Mr. Wahyu. Since you are in the mobile payment and you help your tenant to make sure part of the customer journey, they can securely trust it when do transaction with you, right? In terms of the mobile payment, what else do you think that in terms of the make real trust, digital trust that is really important, and why?
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Hi, Wahyu here, based out of Singapore. So Buku is a global company, mobile payment company, right? We enable businesses to collect online, right, and through local payment methods, right? So context, in Indonesia, local payment methods include carrier billing, or the e-wallets, right? I mean the GoPay, the Ovos, the Danas, the Shopee Pay, and of course also the account to account, right? Such as the QRIS or the virtual account. Basically, what Buku does is that we really focuses on working with modern local payment method issuers, right? That are primarily focusing on doing online businesses, right? Or the whole user journey through a mobile experience. Now, the reason why we do this is that all these local payment methods, their main focus is usually app-based, right? I mean, the way that you finish a payment transaction is on app-based. And by using app-based, it actually allows app-based authentication payment methods. There are many, many advantages of app-based authentication, right? I mean, it allows a very strong device and user recognition methods. Now, what it means by that is that it allows, for example, if the user is a returning user, right, it will allows the merchants to confirm that, hey, this is of low risk, right, because it's a returning user. And sometimes because it's app-based, using this app-based will also allow us to identify a questionable or suspicious user because of the signal, right? And they will try to impose challenge. So by using this app-based authentication, it actually helps us to be more secure, right? To protect the merchants and of course the users. Now, in terms of the fraud or potential fraud threats, or what are the those attack vectors, one of the main things that we always find is social engineering, which is very common. Now, this is one part of the challenge because social engineering is all human element, which is actually the vulnerability, right? I mean, that it's not the device is protecting, it's the human that's easily being tricked, right? To provide the PIN or to complete the transactions that make a payment, that causes the frauds to happen. This is something that, because of this social engineering, right, what we can do is try to mitigate that. Is we feel if the users are given opportunities to use local payment methods or something that they are very familiar, right, and is also a more preferred payment methods, it reduces the chances of this fraud, right? And basically, with this way of doing things, I mean, in terms of using the local payment methods, it actually helps the users be more confident in using this, right? Now, one of the biggest problems with social engineering is that people are not familiar, right, with the whole user journey flow. But if we are able to consistently have a standardized or a very structured way of authentication process, it actually helps to mitigate the fraud scenarios.
Right. Thank you. So next is I will move to the technology solution provider. Maybe I start with from the in-ear Stan. Could you share some recent data or criminal campaign or exploitation that in-ear identify based on experience?
Okay. Thank you, Daniel. Hi, I'm Stan from INEA. So regarding this criminal campaign that we have found, it's very normal that this criminal campaign, they always change it very fast. From what we have discovered, is actually as fast as 5 minutes. Okay, then and then since that the topic of this forum is also mentioning about the cloud and also the cybersecurity, and so these days all the threat actors is actually taking advantage of what I mean, probably we can say that they are also up to the par with the technology, as well as in they will take advantage of the legitimate cloud URL, because in messaging protection, the toughest thing to protect is actually the URL, because as you know, there are so many URLs and so many ways, and we need to know how to actually protect them. So from INEA perspective, we actually have always try to stay ahead, discover more, and also try to learn the attack evolution from these threat actors. Hence, so what we have learned recently is the URL used by these threat actors on the legitimate cloud addresses. So from there, we slowly learn how to protect them. But of course, with the deployment that we have worldwide, we learn about the behavior. Okay, so in this case, like what most of the older technology, they always use this very blunt protection, like a pure GT protection, pure keyword protection, pure regular expression protection that's no longer applicable. So from our side, INEA, we actually try to combine those, but of course, we have done, with the experience that we have in AI and also machine learning for so many years, so we always try to utilize that technology before human intervention. So that is what we have been doing right now.
Okay, thank you, Stan. I move to the next, is Sunil. Okay, based on experience in Akamai, we talk about the one who facing the consumer, how we do the identification validation. That's about to make sure the payment is local, and also the when you see the criminal or cybersecurity attack. In your perspective, is what else that need to be protected in terms of the build the trust?
Yeah, thank you, Bob. Just a quick background on Akamai. So we are a global provider for cloud delivery services, so our CDN network. On top of that, there is a significant security portfolio that provides, endpoint security, user management, and a lot of the security capabilities today. And then we've also built our connected cloud or distributed cloud platform on that. And this has been an evolution over probably the past 20, 25 years, where Akamai started initially to set out to solve a problem, which was how do we get traffic from one point of the globe to the hundreds of users who are occupying the internet. And we successfully solved that problem by delivering the CDN network. Now, as that traffic grew, so the complexities grew and the use cases grew, we had to build network security as a core function. And now we're also seeing that evolve again with so much of the traffic not residing in private data centers, but it's moved to a public environment where user experience is what's driving a lot of the business engagement. And so Akamai is again invested in that process where we're bringing compute as close to the edge as possible. So when we look at it from a lens of how do we address cybersecurity from a business, there are three principles. One is to identify and secure the user and the device. Secondly, secure the access, and what we call is the north-south access, whether that be cellular, whether that be FTTX. And then thirdly is securing the infrastructure where business intelligence resides. Those three things, there's no beginning and end of that conversation. And I think a number of the speakers today said, and this is not 100% done today, and it's not a failure or a success. It's a continual journey of evolution. And Akamai, I believe, has built the platform structure where as your business needs evolve and arise today, you as a business user should be able to be responsive to that. And then when the business market changes, you can then shift your focus very quickly and adapt to those changes. So that's where I think our security posture is really looking at intelligence from within the network. And if we are seeing 40 to 45% of the internet traffic daily, that visibility is what we built our trust and our relationships on. That visibility gives insights to customers to be able to not react to threats, but proactively mitigate threats. And if we can do that successfully, one of the other things I really heard today was we need to be open and collaborate in these environments, right? I don't think we'll ever get to a homogeneous environment where it's just us or just another vendor or just one product. And we are open to that because it's a collaboration for the customer and their multitude of needs. So I think there is a lot in this space. Cybersecurity in itself is I'm not sure who can bite that cherry in one go. It's going to take several bites. But I think as a community here, what I'm seeing is there is a strong interest in trying to collaborate and bring these thought processes together.
Thank you. Good point on the collaboration. I know we cannot, we cannot work alone. So that's why the collaboration really important. Before I go into that, I have one more question to Michael actually. When you launch or run the Bank Saku, we know that security always contradiction with convenience, right? If we go to like an airport, if too much security, then we will not be convenient. Our question is, in Bank Saku, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. So basically, I agree with everybody that collaboration is very important. So we are basically putting our own expertise into the tables. And as a Bank Saku, we also collaborate with many people, with many vendors and many technological partners. And in this case, we are also continuing our behavior on our customer experience here. For example, like when somebody is actually logging in or onboarding to us, we're having like a device, device fingerprinting with us. So we kind of detecting their behavior. When they're actually having a different kind of behavior, we can step up our security by increasing more of the security layer. For example, like doing the half IDV process to actually see whether this is actually an accurate the customers or not. And in addition to maybe on the phone number, yeah, I agree with increasing the identity of the phone number. It's really important for the bank like to protect ourselves for the non-repudiation, because we don't our mobile basically being access to the transaction with the same period of time with the two different zones, for example. Yeah. So agree, the collaboration is very important, and I just want to add that basically the collaboration within the industry and the collaboration between the cross industry is very important to actually tackle this cybersecurity, because the threat is also evolving, right? So we have to basically stay and learn from each other how to basically mitigate those.
Okay, thank you. Do we, before I going over the collaboration, do we open for the Q&A from the public, from the audience? Anyone? Yeah, please.
Check.
Yeah.
Please also mention if you have a specific ask question to the
Yeah.
who
Okay.
is
Thank you, Pak Deniar. Maybe a specific question to Pak Michael ya. Maybe from Bang Saku ya. Yeah. Talk about the financial transaction maybe in your company. This is a critical point. Yeah. That maybe we want to know the best practice. Maybe that what you do in your company, especially because in October, we know that the regulation of the PDP, perlindungan data pribadi, maybe what you call it, a regulation of the personal data protection, will be implemented in Indonesia. Maybe just want to know or share maybe in your part what the Bang Saku prepare to comply with our regulation, and then the second question maybe how deep your protection to make your customer maybe because this is talk about the digital trust, how your company make your customer comfort and trust with the data, especially for the personal data protection. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
You want to answer, Pak Michael?
Yeah, thank you, Pak, for the question, Pak. So basically, we are assessing the new regulation, Pak, the PDB regulation, as well with the Astra Financial Group, and with the help of one of the major consultant, Pak. So we see the consumer data is very important for us, but then to add some layer, Pak, just for example, some of the data will basically have a kind of different layer of how you going to assessing on the data itself, Just for example, that maybe perhaps that we sometimes authenticate by maiden name or example, or the date of birth, okay. It will be basically having a different kind of treatment, how basically we are as the bank to treat with those area. So for example, like when you do the authenticating, are you going to basically still being asked by the date of birth or the maiden name, or basically by the other methodology, for example, like who you are or what are you actually, or the other authentication methodology. I think it's very important. And second one is actually to put end on the data ownership and how the organization basically dealing with the data requests. It's also very important because we segregate basically the data access from and the data request from one area to the other area. For example, like when we are dealing with the regulators, of course, will be different from the sales requesting the data. I hope that it's answering your question.
Okay. We have one more. Yep, please.
As the world globe is reeling from the impact of the CrowdStrike and Windows bug from last weekend, and you represent companies that control the internet. I think Akamai mentioned 40 to 45% of all internet traffic, or control payments in large swaths of the markets, or banking experience for millions of users. What is your learning and what steps are you taking in your companies to prevent internal software bugs or updates from just grinding your business or the whole world of internet to a halt?
So maybe the question specific to...
I'll ask that to Akamai, to
Akamai,
Boku,
okay.
to Bankasa.
Yeah. I think there's one message that came through before, and this has been repeated multiple times. There's technology, there's people, there's process. I think it goes without saying, nearly every organization ensures that we try and get those things correct every day, right? Now, we have to be vigilant 24/7, 365 days a year as defenders of infrastructure and services. The attackers have to be successful one day, right? And that brings about more focus on the people, process, and products that we ultimately need to drive. I think the learnings, vigilance is absolutely key, right? Now, as vigilant as we are, you still have to build defense in depth. Defense in depth means not just at the access layer or not just at the device layer. You have to think, what happens if the first wall is breached? What happens in the second wall? What happens in the third wall? More importantly, how do we bounce back from that scenario, right? The reality of our world is, I think everyone in this room at some point has probably been involved in some sort of breach or fraud or something that's happened. I know I have been. Now, do we bounce back quickly and do we all get down in the dumps and we go, this is it, nothing can be fixed? No, I think then as an organization, your process then has to kick in and say, something broke and something bad went wrong. How do we bounce back from this quickly? But to your question, maintaining that constant the visibility, the focus is constantly a threat that we have to be ready for. As an ecosystem broadly, we have to think about, and this is what I was talking to one of my colleagues, the next generation of users who are going to rely and make business decisions do not think like us, right? What we perceive as sensitive data, what we perceive as a vulnerable situation is quite different to, let's say, someone who's in their young teens or their young 20s who will be making these decisions in the next 5 to 10 years. So we always have to incorporate that line of thinking around, it's not just what's today and tomorrow, but we have to start planning for processes that cater for the next potential generation of vulnerabilities, and there will be vulnerabilities. Our data is valuable, right? It's no longer that someone can lock down my network and ransom me for, I don't know, a few $1 million. My data is more valuable to someone who can sell it on the market, right? And that's the information that we need to protect. Once in the data center, how do we protect our customers' sensitive data? So that's probably not a direct answer to your CrowdStrike question. I think that's something that we'll probably talk separately, but from a preparedness side perspective, vigilance is key, and always being ready to tackle that next threat is absolutely paramount.
Right. Thank you, Sudhir. One more question? Yeah, please.
Hello, I'm Zihan from Infobip. So just one question for maybe both of Net Number and Boku gentlemen. We know that mobile identity is one of more secure option to authenticate user compared to SMS, even to flash call. However, if we try to push this mobile identity, there is some resistance coming from the operator because it could cannibalize their other business. So I want to know what did you do to make sure that most of the operators are on board on this mobile identity API, for example. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. So the question addressed to Boku, right? Okay.
Boku or the number and any.
Yeah, maybe the question is actually, we know that you are in the mobile payment, that personal data identification is really important. But sometimes they see the telco, they see this as a cannibal. And how, based on your experience, how do you see that? Correct me if I'm wrong, the question. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, if I want to rephrase, is it questions about cannibalizations from mobile identity? Oh, you mean in terms of the SMS and the silent authentication? I think, yeah, this is one of the constant issues, right? SMS OTP has been around for a longest time, right? And I think it has been done his duty, but it really opens up to a lot of fraud, especially social engineering, right? And just now earlier panels, you heard of this silent authentication, right? Using the header enrichment to enable these things to. I think some of the carriers, in fact, I believe Telkomsel is one of the business partners that Buku works with, where they are embracing this, right? To say that, hey, it is going to be the fact. It's either you sort of cannibalize your own business or else other people will do to cannibalize your business, right? So I think what they does is that they embraces this, but they come up with a pricing model that even though it is a silent authentications, right, it is not really the same cost structures as the SMS OTP, but they are still able to monetize it, right? But it still stay within the ecosystems. But more importantly, right, because Telkomsel and some of the carriers in Indonesia take a leadership positions by driving this forward, they send to the industries that they are aware is cannibalizing their core business, but they continue to do that to show that they are really thinking for the consumer and for the user, for the business, right? I think that is actually a very bold leadership move that they're taking. So I would only say is that for some of the technology that has served its purpose, it was very successful, but after some times, I think when they have new threats coming forward, right, we have to evolve and we have to come up with new, more innovative ways of nipping that threats, right? And I think maybe just want to wrap it up by saying that we just talk about all these fraudsters, right? I like to akin it to a form of like a whack-a-mole, right? When you try to close a fraud, a threat, right, they will just spring up in another form. I think the only way we can do is to constantly monitor and to be very innovative in coming up with something and be prepared to take leadership positions to really go forward, even though it may be affecting your core business. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, thank you. So I think we are done. So a lot of insight happening here is very good. And some key point here I see that first is about the personal data identification is really important. And there are some parameters that we need to secure at. And the most important thing is actually the keyword of the collaboration. That we see that actually we assume it is a cannibal, but at the end, it mentioned that agree that even telco is no more collaborative than before. So I think that's all from this session. Thank you very much for your participation, and give applause for the panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you.